Welcome to Lento English. Ready to level up your English? Here we learn through stories, slow, clear, and fun. Listen, relax, and enjoy the journey.
1. Introduction. President Donald Trump began his second time as the leader of the United States. This term started with important trips to countries far away. One part of the world he visited often was the Middle East. These trips were official visits for the government of the United States. But President Trump's family also has many businesses around the world. These businesses are known as the Trump Organization. President Trump still owns these businesses even while he is the president. His adult children, like his sons Eric and Donald Jr., help to manage them. His son-in-law, Jared Kushner, also runs a business fund. During President Trump's official government trips to the Middle East, his family's businesses also had activities in those same countries. This story will look closely at these trips. It will also look at the business activities that happened around the same time in the same places. It will explore the links and connections between the official visits by the U.S. president and the business activities of the Trump family. Having a president with many active businesses in countries he visits officially is not common in the United States. This situation is very different from how things worked before. Because of this, different people have different ideas and opinions about what was happening. Some people think this is acceptable and good. They believe that President Trump's trips and the resulting deals, both government and business, help the United States. They argue that these activities bring important investments and create jobs for American people. They say there are no problems or conflicts of interest. They believe the president is working only for the good of his country. Other people have serious questions and concerns. They think there might be problems when a president has personal business interests in the countries he visits as the nation's leader. They worry that the president's business goals might influence his decisions for the country. These people believe it is very important to understand all the links between the official work and the private business activities. This story will show some specific examples of these links and activities. We will see where President Trump traveled in the Middle East and what important government events took place during his visits. We will also look at what the Trump family businesses were doing in those places at the same time. For instance, in one country, the U.S. government signed a very large deal for weapons. Around the same time, the Trump family business made a real estate deal there. In another country, a fund run by the president's son-in-law received a very large amount of money from that country's government investment fund. In a third country, a company offered a very expensive airplane as a gift for the president's use. We will also hear what different people said about these events. Some people, including people working for the president, stated clearly that everything was right and proper. They said there were no conflicts of interest at all. However, other people, including some political figures and commentators, expressed doubts. They said these situations did not look right. They said they raised important questions about the president's actions and his reasons for them. They worried whether the president was always acting in the best interests of the country, or sometimes for his own business benefit. This story aims to present these events and connections. It explores the different points of view people had. It helps to understand this unusual time when the President of the United States had significant and active business interests in the same foreign countries where he conducted important government work. We will begin in the next chapter by looking at President Trump's first major trip of his second term, which was to a key country in the Middle East. 2. A visit to Saudi Arabia. After he began his second time as president, Donald Trump planned his first important trips to other countries. His first major journey was to the Middle East. He decided to visit Saudi Arabia first. This was a very important trip for the United States and for Saudi Arabia. When President Trump arrived in Saudi Arabia, the leaders there welcomed him very warmly. There were many official events and meetings. The feeling between the two countries seemed very friendly during this visit. It showed that the relationship was becoming much better. During the trip, the United States and Saudi Arabia made a very big agreement. This agreement was about selling weapons from the United States to Saudi Arabia. It was a deal worth many billions of dollars. This was one of the biggest parts of the visit. It showed a strong connection between the two countries in defense. President Trump spoke very positively about Saudi Arabia and its leaders. He said many good things about the relationship. For example, he said that the United States had no better friend or partner than Saudi Arabia. He also spoke directly about the Saudi leader, saying that he liked him very much. These words were important because they showed a strong personal connection and a positive view of the country. The visit itself was seen as a big step forward for the relationship between the United States and Saudi Arabia. It made the connection between the two countries much warmer and stronger than before. It marked a new time in how the two nations worked together. The trip included many discussions about working together on different things, like security and trade. The positive atmosphere and the big deals signed showed that the two countries wanted to be close partners. This first major trip of President Trump's second term set a clear direction for his country's foreign policy in the Middle East. Visiting Saudi Arabia first, signing a large arms deal, and speaking so positively about the leaders sent a strong message. It showed that the United States valued its relationship with Saudi Arabia very highly. The trip helped to build a stronger friendship and partnership between the two nations, changing how they work together on important global matters. 3. Business in Saudi Arabia. After President Trump's first big trip, people started talking about business. President Trump has a business called the Trump Organization. His two oldest sons, Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr., manage this business for him. The Trump Organization does business in many places around the world. Saudi Arabia is one of these places. The business has interests there. The Trump Organization made real estate deals in Saudi Arabia. Real estate means buying, selling, or building land and buildings. These deals happened before President Trump won the election for his second term. They also happened after he became president again. This shows that the Trump family's business has a history and ongoing activity in Saudi Arabia. There is another important business link related to the president's family. President Trump's son-in-law is named Jared Kushner. He was an important advisor to the president before. Now, Jared Kushner runs a private investment fund. An investment fund collects money from different investors and puts it into various businesses or projects to make more money. Jared Kushner's fund received a very large amount of money from Saudi Arabia. This money came from Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. This is a fund controlled by the Saudi state. The amount of money was $2 billion. This was a major investment from the Saudi state fund into the private fund managed by the president's son-in-law. These business connections in Saudi Arabia are noticed by many people. They see these links between the Trump family's business and Saudi Arabia. Some people think it is important to look at these connections at the same time as the president makes official visits and government deals with the country. The real estate deals by the Trump Organization show the family's direct business presence. The large investment in Jared Kushner's fund shows a financial link involving a close family member. These business activities in Saudi Arabia are happening in parallel with the political and government relations between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. Observers look at these business links closely. They want to understand the full picture. The fact that deals were signed both before and after the president's election victory is seen as notable by many. The $2 billion investment in the fund run by the president's son-in-law is also a key point that many people talk about and consider important. The Trump Organization continues to look for business opportunities in Saudi Arabia. Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. lead these efforts. The real estate sector seems to be a focus for their business activities there. Meanwhile, the investment in Jared Kushner's fund is a significant financial tie that connects a member of the president's family to Saudi state money. These business activities show that the Trump family has financial interests in Saudi Arabia. This is the country where President Trump began his important trip. The business links include property deals by the Trump Organization and a large investment in Jared Kushner's fund. These connections are part of the ongoing discussion about the relationship between the president's public role and his family's private business activities. People continue to observe and comment on these links and their meaning. The business relationships are seen by some as important context for understanding the official government interactions and decisions. 4. A visit to Qatar. After visiting Saudi Arabia, President Trump traveled to Qatar. This was the next country on his trip. The trip included deals between the United States and countries in the Gulf area. During this time, news came about a new project. A new Trump International Golf Club was announced. This golf club is planned to be built near Doha, the capital city of Qatar. This was a big announcement. 2 companies were mentioned with this project. One company is from Qatar. It is owned by the state. It is called Qatari Dyer. The other company is from Saudi Arabia. It is a real estate company called Dar Global. Both companies were mentioned in connection with the new golf club project. Eric Trump, one of the president's sons, spoke about the project. He said he was very proud to work with both companies. However, later, the Trump Organization gave more information. They said that the main deal for the golf club was with the Saudi company, Dar Global. They said the deal was not directly with the Qatari state-owned company, Qatari Dyer. While in Qatar, President Trump met the leader of Qatar, called the Emir. President Trump spoke very positively about him. He called the Emir an outstanding man. This was a change in how President Trump talked about Qatar. In his first time as president, President Trump had been critical of Qatar. In 2017, he had said that Qatar was helping bad people. So his words during this visit were different. For Qatar, hearing positive words from the U.S. president was seen as progress. The visit included talks about defense and trade between the United States and Qatar. There was also a special dinner. These events were part of the official trip. 5. A gift from Qatar. Qatar made a special offer. It was a very large gift. Qatar offered to give a big airplane to President Trump. The airplane was a Boeing 747. It was a modern and very expensive plane. Qatar said President Trump could use it during his time as president. President Trump heard about the offer. He seemed to like the idea. He spoke about the gift. He said it was a good offer. He said it was a very expensive airplane. He asked why someone would say no to a free plane. He called it a great gesture from Qatar. So President Trump showed interest in taking the airplane. In the U.S. government, there is a department called the Justice Department. This department works with U.S. laws. The person leading this department was chosen by President Trump. Reports in the news said that this department looked at the offer of the airplane. The reports said that the department wrote something about the gift. This writing reportedly said that President Trump could accept the plane. It said that taking the gift was allowed. However, this writing was not shown to everyone. It was not made public. When people heard about the offer, some had questions. Some people thought it was not good for President Trump to take such a large gift from another country. A senator from the Democratic Party spoke about it. He said it looked like Qatar was trying to have influence. He said it was like a foreign country buying influence. A writer who often supports conservative ideas also spoke. He said that President Trump had promised to drain the swamp. This meant stopping unfair connections between government and business or other countries. The writer said that taking the plane was not draining the swamp. He said it was the opposite. So different people had different ideas about the gift. Some saw it as a simple gift or a nice gesture. Others saw it as something that could cause problems or look bad. They worried about foreign influence. At the same time that people discussed the airplane gift, the U.S. and Qatar continued to work together. They made more deals. These deals were important agreements between the two countries. They included agreements about defense, like military support. They also included agreements about trade, like buying and selling goods. The relationship between the U.S. and Qatar continued to grow stronger. The offer of the airplane was one part of the connection between the two countries during this time. It showed a close relationship. It also created discussion about gifts and rules for presidents. 6. Business in the UAE. The president's trip included a stop in the United Arab Emirates. This was the last country on his important visit to the region. In the UAE, more deals between the United States and the UAE were announced. These were official deals for the two countries, covering different areas like trade or defense. These deals are important for the relationship between the U.S. and the UAE. At the same time, the Trump family's businesses are also active in the UAE. The Trump Organization, which is run by the president's sons, has business plans here. They have plans for a Trump International Hotel and Tower. This planned hotel is in the city of Dubai. This shows the family business interest in the real estate market in the UAE. Having plans for a large branded hotel connects the Trump name to business in the country. The Trump family also has a crypto venture. It is called World Liberty Financial. A crypto venture works with digital money or assets. This venture is involved in a large business deal in the UAE. A state-backed fund from Abu Dhabi is helping with this deal. This fund is using the Trump family's crypto venture to help make the deal happen. The deal is for a large amount of money, $2 billion. This is a significant deal involving a fund connected to the government of Abu Dhabi and a Trump family business. It shows a business connection between a government-linked entity and the president's family business. The crypto venture has a website that shares information. The website lists President Trump in an important role. It says he is the chief crypto advocate for the venture. This means he supports the venture publicly. His name is used to promote the business. There are people closely connected to this venture and the president. Two co-founders are Zach Wickoff and Alex Wickoff. They are the sons of Steve Wickoff. Steve Wickoff is listed as a co-founder emeritus, which is like an honored past founder. He is also a real estate investor. He has a personal connection to President Trump. He is a golf buddy. And Steve Wickoff also has an official role with the U.S. government. He is the president's special envoy to the Middle East. This means he works for the U.S. government on important matters in the region. This connection shows how family business interests are present in the UAE, similar to other stops on the trip. The trip covered official state matters and also saw activity related to the president's family businesses. This is a pattern seen in other countries visited during this trip. The presence of a special envoy who is also connected to the family business adds another layer to the situation. This connection between official duties and private business interests is noted by many people. 7. Rules and opinions. The White House spoke about President Trump's visits to other countries. They said these trips were very good for the United States. They stated that the trips brought in trillions of dollars in investments. These investments would help the American economy grow strong. They would also create many good-paying jobs for people in the U.S. The White House strongly said that there were no conflicts of interest involved. They repeated this idea often. They said it was not true that President Trump was doing anything for himself. They said he chose to live a very good life, a life of comfort and running a successful business, to work for the public and serve the country. The Trump Organization, which is the president's group of businesses, has a rule for this second term. This rule is about how they work with other countries. They said they would not start any new business deals directly with foreign governments. This rule is not the same as the one they had during his first term. In the first term, they said they would not start any new business projects in countries outside the U.S. at all. The new rule for the second term still allows for many other kinds of deals that are not directly with governments. Eric Trump, one of the president's sons who helps manage the businesses, gave promises. He said they would put in place many steps to be ethical. These steps are meant to try and stop possible conflicts before they happen, but not everyone feels sure about this. Some people still have questions and worries. They see the president making trips and his family's businesses also doing deals in those places. They wonder if there is a connection. They ask if the president's decisions are good for his own business interests or if they are truly for the good of the nation. Some people believe there are still conflicts of interest happening. The White House answers these questions. They say it is silly for anyone to suggest that President Trump is acting for himself. They say he is focused on serving the country. It is important to remember that President Trump still owns his businesses. He is not running them day to day while he is president, but he is still the owner. People who understand business say that even if he is not managing the company, he makes more money when the company does well. When he stops being president and leaves the White House, the value of his companies might be higher. This means his own money, his personal wealth, could increase because of the success of his businesses while he was in office. This situation, with a president who still owns many active businesses around the world, is different from the normal way things are done in the United States. It takes the U.S. presidency outside of what is usually expected. 8. The main story. This story has looked at President Trump's important trip to the Middle East during his time as president. He visited 3 countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. During these visits, the United States government made many official deals. For example, in Saudi Arabia, there was a very large deal to sell weapons. President Trump also spoke very positively about the leaders in Saudi Arabia and Qatar. In Qatar and the UAE, there were also important agreements about defense and trade. The White House stated that these trips and deals were very good for America. They said they brought a lot of money and jobs to the U.S. They said the president was working hard for the country's economy. However, the story also showed that President Trump's family businesses are active in the same countries. These businesses are run by his sons and other family members. In Saudi Arabia, there were real estate deals made by the Trump Organization. Also, President Trump's son-in-law, who was an advisor, received a very large investment for his private fund from the Saudi government's money. In Qatar, plans were announced for a new Trump golf club. A company from Qatar and a company from Saudi Arabia were mentioned with this project. Qatar also offered to give a large airplane to President Trump for his use. Reports said that the U.S. Justice Department, led by a person chosen by President Trump, said it was okay to take the plane. In the UAE, there are plans for a Trump hotel. Also, a crypto business connected to the Trump family was part of a big deal with money from the government in Abu Dhabi. The website for this crypto business even listed President Trump as a supporter. Some people think it is very unusual for a president to visit countries where his family has business. They say this situation is different from what is normal. These people feel concerned. They worry about conflicts of interest. This means the president's decisions for the country might be influenced by his family's personal money interests. They question if the president's actions are for the good of the country or for his own or his family's business good. The White House strongly disagrees with these concerns. They say there are no conflicts of interest at all. They say President Trump is only thinking about the United States and its people. They mention that President Trump left a life where he was very rich from his businesses to work in government. The Trump family businesses have said they will not make new deals directly with foreign governments while he is president. However, President Trump still owns his businesses. Even if his sons manage them, he still makes more money if the businesses do well. If the companies make more profit, his personal wealth increases. So, this situation raises questions for many people. It shows the connections between the president's official government work and his family's global business activities. Different people have different opinions about whether this is right or wrong. It is a topic that causes ongoing discussion because it takes the role of the U.S. president into areas that are not considered typical or normal by some.